Well, I was wondering if you wouldn't mind speaking a little bit about the process of transmission, like how people learn runway walking in the scene. I mean, do you teach in this fashion, and also who teaches? Who's tasked with teaching?
I think every person has their own sort of experience with it. I feel like all of us in our own respective lives have walked some form of runway before coming to ballroom. And so where I'm from in Virginia, there's modeling troupes, and they're usually at like HBCUs, historically black colleges and universities, and they have these modeling troupes, and you don't have to even go to the school necessarily. Like if you're a family of a student, you can sort of participate. So I've been walking since I was like 11, right? But that style of runway is different than walking balls. So I don't know if you want to.
So I have kind of a bit of the same experience of getting into runway. It was through HBCU modeling troupes. I went to D-Link University, the first HBCU. Yes. And I was a part of a modeling troupe called Zion Fashion Club, and we walked runway. We did runway, we did choreo. There's a bit more choreo, but it's kind of like really dancey. It's not modelly, like runway. When you think fashion show, you think ballroom. Yeah. So that's how I had got like my basic training. Yeah. But when I joined ballroom, I quickly learned that there was another style and another way to walk, and that I had to master that as well. And I'm someone I like to kind of learn from a lot of different people in a lot of different places and take my favorite things from each to kind of create my own personality and technique.
Remy?
I'm totally different. I literally just started walking last year. Like in my head, I thought I was always a model, hence in my head. But no, when I came to the house, like I learned like runway at a ball is totally different than like regular modeling. And I literally learned everything from Twiggy. And yeah, I mean, it's amazing. I just love it. But I literally learned everything last year.
How so? What are some of the key differences?
For me, it's the pace of the walking, because with balls, it's about the hips. I literally learned this last night while practicing. I was trying to walk to a beat of a song, and it was nothing like at a ball. Like you have to use your hips, thrust your hips. It's really different, but it's more so all about that for me.
And from my perspective, a modeling troupe, the difference in walking is when you're in a modeling troupe, you kind of do walk to the beat. You have a lot more turns, you have a lot more choreo within your walk. I know you all think we did a lot today, but there's a lot more that can be done when it comes to runway. But in ballroom, it's really about your strut in the 5 elements of runway. So as long as you touch on those 5, you're good. They really want to see the technique of the model. They want to see the walk. So it's a lot simplified, but with more energy and presence, I would say.
And to answer your question about teaching, I think I answered, part of it is that it's an individual experience, right? So when I came to ballroom, I had that sort of model troupe runway was definitely different than what we, like European runway, which is what we walk. And it wasn't a person in my house who taught me. It was like a person who I admired who was in a different house who taught me the difference, right? But in our house, we have several people who, I'll break this down in a second, are legendary for runway. And so we have like sort of tons of resources in comparison to houses that may not have that. And so in the ballroom scene, there's different levels of status or accomplishment. And so after maybe 1 to 3 years of you walking, you're traveling, you're winning, people are starting to know who you are, that's called a star. And then somewhere between 4 to 7 years, if you continue to win, continue to travel, people are like, now you're a statement for the category. And then somewhere between 7 and 10 years, you've won what we call of the years, which is like our awards, like our Oscars, or if you will. You won several of the years, you still have traveled all over, everyone knows who you are for the category, then you get deemed legendary, which is like a very high esteem in the ballroom scene. So we have several legends, I'm one of them, but we have several legends in the House of Garcons that are legendary for runway. Yeah.
I was also wondering if you could speak a little bit about innovation within runway, within the art of walking, and are people introducing new movements, new forms?
Sure. Yes, I think so. my category is called Butch Queen European Runway. That's the full name of it, which means, trying to find the right language, because I'm a gender fluid person, but originally, the ballroom language is very problematic, so let me just start by using that as a disclaimer. So Butch Queen ultimately is like a gay male, right? And European runway means you walk a feminine walk. So it's gay male who has a feminine walk, versus all American runway is a male presenting person who has a masculine walk, right? So I walk European runway, they walk Butch Queen and Drags runway, and there's sort of like rules to the game for each of them. And so for a very long time for European runway, you couldn't walk in heels or platforms or anything like that. You're supposed to walk in flat shoes but still have a feminine walk. And so there's a group of us who were like, fuck that, excuse my language, but like, girl, what? And just sort of like 10-ish years ago, just sort of like went against the grain and started wearing platforms and heels and that sort of stuff. And now it's more acceptable. But like, when we started it, we would get chopped, which is like, we come out for the category and they're like, you can't compete. So that's one change I can think of.